I appreciate everything that I have. I've had to work harder than maybe some other people to get that. And I would never let anybody take that away from me either. There's going to be people who maybe could listen to a clip like this and say that that's bullshit, that that's an excuse, that I'm perpetuating or something like that. That's just a fact.
No,
okay?
Facts, yeah.
It's a fact that most black people have to work harder than other cultures, especially in this country, right? And that's just a fact.
Yeah.
What the name of this show?
I Talk Gray.
I Talk Great.
Are you a business owner, entrepreneur, entertainer, and you got a story to tell? You want to get your brand out there to the world? Well, you reached the right place. Let's set up an exclusive interview between me and you. I Talk Gray, and we're going to go ahead and get your brand out there to the world. But here what you do. Go ahead and send me an email with the words gray at italkgraymedia@gmail.com. See you soon. Y'all already know what it is. It's Mr. Williams with the I Talk Gray podcast, where we talk about the gray areas of business and life because it's never just black and white. I got a heavy hitter in the building. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man? What's up?
Washington up in this piece. How you doing, man?
I'm doing excellent, man. I'm glad to be here. Happy to be here, man.
Thank you. You know what I mean? We're supposed to get this going. But before we get started, right, I ain't even going front. Your place is spectacular.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you.
Yeah. I was like, okay, let me walk up in here. It's nice. You got the whips outside in the front. Got the baddies in the front. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, what's going on? I felt the star treatment. Do you do that for everybody, or that was just for I Talk Gray?
Look, I want you to think that it's just, look, we do it for everybody, but I don't want it to feel like it's for everybody. I want it to feel like you are the individual, you are the VIP. And even though you are a VIP, every single person that I send into the office, the way that I sent you into the office,
yeah,
every single person has the same instructions. And the instructions to the staff is roll out the red carpet verbatim every single time. And if I can't meet you there, that's what's expected. But that's the culture that we're trying to preserve and create with them Forever Young. And so I think that's probably a reason we've had significant successes, because that's actually not common anymore in most businesses.
Yeah,
so,
it's not. That level of customer service, bro. Like, you had the camera guy there. I was like, oh, snap. You had like one of your customers, Michelle. Shout out to Michelle. I think she said she's a real estate agent. She's like, are you a superstar? I was like, yeah, a little bit. You know what I mean? I went in. Shout out to Nicole. She did my facial.
Oh, yeah, Nicole's great.
I never had a hydro facial, though.
Yeah.
But it was different.
Nicole's great. I mean, she's been with us for like 6+ years. And the way we got Nicole was because Nicole was a patient of ours, and
really,
and yeah, she's just been great, and it's a testament, because you know, we want people like her working with us, people that are not just employees, but they're also patients of the services, which is really important. So she knows what you're looking for from a patient perspective and from a professional perspective, her being an esthetician. Okay.
No, it was dope, bro. She did an amazing job.
Good.
You know, we was conversating throughout the facial. She put the cover on me. I was warm. I was like, okay, nice and snuggly, awesome. Right? So, okay. So Forever Young, right? I see you got the branding on.
Always.
So how does a person stay forever young using your services?
So yeah, Forever Young, we focus on making people look better and feel better. And through that, we believe that we are actually able to extend optimal life for people, meaning that we're not just looking for you to just live until you're 70, 80, 90, 100 and just be sitting there, you know, with the pill bottles and can't do nothing. We want you to actually be able to live your life in an optimal way, feel good about the way you look on the outside. Yeah. And in order to do that, a lot of the time, it takes us feeling good on the inside. And so we bring in people typically on our wellness side of our business, which is medical, where we're doing comprehensive blood work, labs, basically being able to break down what's going on inside the body. And from there, they go into different modalities and services that we offer to actually help correct anything that's wrong and to sustain it for a long period of time. This is a very basic way of me explaining this. Okay. But
I mean, you said a lot. Well, what kind of services do you guys provide, though?
So on the wellness side, you're looking at hormone replacement. You're looking at medical weight loss. You're looking at peptides, testosterone. You're looking at supplementation, nutrition, and anything in between that we can help manage and mitigate through looking at your blood work and constant feedback with you and our medical professionals and wellness specialists. On the other side of our business, though, it's completely superficial. It's all about the way you look and aesthetics. And so like you got to experience, our medical esthetician who does treatments like platelet-rich plasma, microneedling on the face, hydrofacials, full skincare lines, medical grade. We do Botox, we do fillers, we do anything that's really going to make you look better that's not invasive. And we try to couple all these services together with the wellness for a comprehensive approach to what we call forever young. And obviously you're not going to live forever, but we feel it was the best way to describe the feeling that you should have, when you're walking out and when you're coming back, that we're looking to be alive and feel well and feel optimized for as long as humanly possible. And that's what we're here to provide for people.
Okay. No, bro, I like it. That forever young. Hold on, we got to drop a bomb on that. I want to be because when I left out of there, my mom was like, hold on, something looking different about you.
Yep.
I was like, yeah, your boy just got a facial.
That's just the beginning.
Yep. So I'm like, okay, yeah, because they did do blood work. I think I got to go back for that.
Yeah, we're going to get you a call for that. And that's going to be the best part of the process because he's going to go over our health profile with you and he's going to break down the good. And if there's any bad, he's going to go over that. And then he's going to not just leave you with bad news. He's going to say, hey, here's some options for you. Here's some medical solutions and options that are going to help correct these things and optimize your overall well-being. So
you guys took my blood. You're not going to clone me or nothing like that. There's going to be another me in Europe.
Not yet. Soon.
Okay. So, because you got to be careful now. I heard when people doing that DNA test.
Oh yeah.
Like I want to do it. Have you done it before?
Yes, I did. Actually, I found my biological father through the DNA test and my siblings.
Get the hell out of here. Hold on. Skirt. We got to park on that for a second. Can you expand on that?
Yeah. So, I was adopted. I was born into a foster care situation in the Washington, D.C. area. And my whole life, I had curiosities as to where my origin was from. I had my mother, who had put me up for adoption, left all false clues and lies. She was a 20-year-old daughter of a police officer and came from a law enforcement family. They were white. And she hid the pregnancy while living in the house with her parents, and actually did the adoption proceeding at night because the family was so well known in law enforcement that she wasn't able to go to the courthouse in the day without being recognized. So they did a nighttime adoption. However, they did the paperwork. They did it at night at the courthouse, and then she also had it sealed by the state. And so
you said she was 20 years old.
She was 20 years old. Yeah.
And your mom was white.
Yes.
Okay. And then your dad is black?
Black, yeah.
Oh, and okay. So you got a little drizzy on.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had no idea. I found this out later. Obviously, he had no idea. And so I had to put together her false clues because she never wanted to be found. Put that together. And once I found her, and that was a horrible experience, negative situation, I kind of pumped the brakes on my search. But later, I did the DNA test with Ancestry. And about 5 or 6 years later, one night I'm taking my kids home from a movie and something pops up and it says on my phone, we found Mary, and Mary is more than a first cousin. That's what it said, more than a first cousin. What's more than a first cousin, So I sent her my number, and then I got a call from a guy who happened to be my brother, who thought I was some crazy guy screening me, and it turned out to be my brother and my sister. And I told them the story, and they were like, oh my God, well, our dad's going to be shocked and we're going to have to break this to him. And they did. And we all linked up, and it was a great experience.
How old were you when you found this out?
When I found out that they existed, or when I found out I was adopted? When
you found out that you were adopted?
Probably elementary school. I'd say like second grade. Yeah.
Wow. So you were young.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you think that had like an effect on you as you were getting older?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I was only child, and you spend a lot of time alone. And when you don't have something, obviously you desire it more.
Yeah.
And so if I saw my neighbors and friends at school, and I just thought it was cool as hell that they had a brother or a sister or someone they could play with.
Yeah.
I was always very envious of that and very drawn to that. And so, yeah, I mean, my whole life, I wished I had siblings. And my whole life, as I got older and you really want to figure out who you are,
yeah,
then you're like, well, who am I? Like, and we know that biological traits a lot of time lead to who we are. And so, yeah, a ton of curiosity throughout life. And it's just still kind of putting some of that stuff together, but having those answers, I mean, helped a lot. I mean, it's a really cool thing to be able to see see yourself.
No, of course.
You know,
where'd you grow up at?
I initially grew up in the Washington, D.C. area, and then I moved with my parents who adopted me. We all moved to Mississippi, Starkville, Mississippi, man, when I was in the 3rd grade.
What was that like?
So, dude, I went from Washington, D.C. metropolitan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
One of the most sophisticated zip codes in the United States, if not the world, to Starkville, Mississippi.
So was that like Klan area?
Bro, it was all of that. I mean, you name it. I mean, it was definitely like a time machine. I mean, you're in Mississippi. They had 3 schools, the elementary, the middle, and the high school in the town. Small town. Everybody knew everything about each other. And yeah, it was like going back in history. And I mean, you tell people I experienced, some 1950s style racism there, getting bottles thrown at me, being called a nigger, getting on the bus in the morning. And then it was even worse because my parents,
even though you light skinned.
Yeah, because one of the things, look, these people at the time, this is Mississippi, okay, in the 1980s. And
dang.
So our bus for school picked me up in front of our home, unfortunately. And so my parents both also appear to be white and black. That's not
your adopted parents?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my mom is I mean, as fair as, as you can be.
Okay.
My dad's, black male. And so imagine you're in Mississippi in 1980s and you're getting picked up and biracial and you got to get on the bus every day. So yeah, it was a really wild situation.
I mean, I could imagine. So how did you blend in? Like within school, did you blend in more with the blacks? Or?
Well, you know how that is. The blacks, you're not black enough. And the whites, you're not white enough, and so there wasn't a lot of blending in. I don't think I really found my groove in that place until the last year I was there, where I learned to adapt and obviously lean more towards the black side.
Okay.
And really kind of try to fit in.
Yeah.
But I had to learn that. It took me a few years to learn that, and then we moved again.
So did you ever bunny hop?
Bunny hop. I'm gonna assume I know what that is, which is I did later in life. I bunny hop for sure.
Okay.
We could talk about that in a second too.
Yeah. Because I'm like, okay, because you on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my little snow bunny experience too, but that wasn't until I got to Florida.
Yeah, I learned look, guys, I'm just gonna preface this with saying, yes, I am biracial. And I identify with both sides.
Okay.
I did do some bunny hopping, and I would say that I've instructed my son to kind of not do that so much because of culturally, I think it's harder to adapt
when it's the mix.
Sometimes with those situations, it's really hard to understand. And I don't like it when people complain about this because I think the struggle in 2024 is exaggerated. The struggle. Everybody has a struggle.
No, right? It's true.
But
Hold on, when you say struggle, what do you mean? Like the black struggle, or
a lot of time people are looking, it seems like, to use that as a crutch or an excuse. I wasn't able to achieve this because of this, and it's because I'm black. It's because I'm black. It's because I'm black. It's because I'm black.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like to really give life to that too much, you know.
But not saying it doesn't exist though.
Oh, it exists. Hey, look. Okay. Again, I just told you what happened in Mississippi. I mean, I'm walking to go get. I remember vividly walking to go get my clothes for my dad from the cleaner and getting a bottle thrown at my head and being called a nigger by a truck full of white boys, you know. And that wasn't the first or last time that happened, right? So is that cool? No.
You're just choosing not to be a victim.
Right, because knowing these things can happen, but I do think that we all have challenges in our life. Sometimes these challenges can even be a blessing, which I've also noticed that this can be utilized and transformed into strength.
Did you know that there are over 70 billion in unclaimed funds in America that haven't been paid out? Myself and hundreds of individuals are making money in this industry by simply helping people file claims for funds that are rightfully owed to them. If you want to learn more about how you can get started getting 15 to 30% just by helping people recover funds, check out the free training. I'm looking forward to helping you out.
Right. And so if people don't realize that, they need to. And if not, I like you said, I'm choosing not to let that be a crutch or let that be excuse, because even if it is difficult and it is a problem, we got to figure out a solution for it.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
is there a solution though for that? I mean,
yeah, there's a.
I mean, you could keep your head up high and keep pushing and saying, all right, I'm a pivot. You know, that's the gray area. I talk gray.
Yeah.
But we don't really have any control. Like if I go look for a home, you know, in certain banking institutions, I mean, they still have the power to say, well, hey, you know, your credit score got to be 780.
You adapt. You adapt. You got to learn. You got to look. We got to adapt. And look, these things happen, but it's going to be that much sweeter when you achieve these things.
No, you're right.
Whereas look what happens to the opposite. Look at what happens to, let's say, other cultures. I'm not going to say, you know, which. Yeah. When they receive things, they may not be as grateful as you are, which may lead to all these mental issues and anxiety and depression and all this stuff, which may be a symptom of privilege, right? Where maybe they can't even find happiness because they have no struggle. Everything is free. Everything's easy, right?
Okay, I get what you're
so
saying.
you see a lot of people suffering from that, whereas I appreciate everything that I have. I've had to work harder than maybe some other people to get that. And I would never let anybody take that away from me either. There's going to be people who maybe could listen to a clip like this and say that that's bullshit, that that's an excuse, that I'm perpetuating or something like that. That's just a fact.
No,
okay?
Facts, yeah.
It's a fact that most black people have to work harder than other cultures, especially in this country, right? And that's just a fact.
Yeah. Are your children biracial, or do you have children with a black woman?
Yeah. So my wife, I mean, she looks like, man, I don't know, people think.
Is she black or what is she, bro?
So she's Jamaican.
She a yardie.
Yeah. And her mom is, I guess you would consider black. Her dad is actually like a Hispanic looking Jamaican. You know, he has straight hair. He's also very fair skinned. Okay. So then you have her, who's like a combo of that. Okay. And then you have me, and then you have our two children together. My one son, I make fun of him all the time. I call him white boy and everything. You know, he's got that Bart Simpson color. You know, and you know, with light skinned guys, man, they always want to be blacker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I mess with him about that. It's just in fun. But yeah, he's looked like a little Bart Simpson looking guy. And then my daughter is my complexion. She's very like tan. Okay. And she's got curly hair, so they're all mixed up. I mean, and then my other daughter, I have a 23-year-old daughter from a different relationship, and her mom is. You
got a 23-year-old?
Yeah.
Get the hell out of here.
And her mom's Filipino and African American, straight up. And so she's like my complexion.
So there's no pure. You didn't go for the pure.
Nah, we're all over the place now.
So do you think that's due to you being mixed? You didn't want the pure. You didn't want to purify it.
We can get gray on that, because I'm just going to tell you the truth, and people may not like this. I always tell people, man, like, you need to love yourself. You know what I'm saying? And it should be evident sometimes in relationships. And so I chose people who were like me.
Okay.
I like myself. I love being mixed. I think it's an advantage.
Really?
Yeah. And I really love mixed people. And I was really attracted to my mixed wife and mixed race wife and to, you know, at the time, I mean, to the mother of my oldest daughter. And so I have that bias, and I'm not afraid to tell people about that. But hey, you know, if you're a dark skinned, you know, African American, I hope you love yourself enough to at least want to give a dark skinned African American woman a chance. And
have you ever dipped in the chocolate though?
Oh, bruh.
I was just saying, I mean, have you tried it out?
Dude, I mean, let me think. Of course, dude. I mean,
oh, okay.
I mean, I like women.
Okay, so you have your flavors.
I like women.
Okay.
I like women, dude. And I mean, you learn over time what you prefer more than others. Okay. But absolutely, man. I mean, I've gone out with, I mean, very, very dark women. I've gone out with white women. Okay. Asian women. Okay. Indian.
All right. A little curry go.
What else? I mean, what else is out there? Latin. You know, you name
Latinas?
it. I mean, no discrimination over time.
Okay. So seeing that you said you appreciate your struggle, right? And then you're a dad. How do you prepare your children to deal with struggle, seeing that you're doing so well?
That's a great question, man. That's a really good question. And I would challenge all parents to do this. My kids now, my oldest daughter did not. My oldest daughter initially grew up, I would say, in some hardship, probably more hardship than I initially grew up in.
Was that because you were still
21? She was my 21st birthday present. Was my daughter 21 on my birthday? Oh wow, okay. 21.
So she was with you at the beginning,
bro. We had nothing. We were broke as hell, dude. Broke. I mean, broke. And so she had a different life because she lived in, you know, the basement of a townhouse in Washington, D.C. And then lived in Brooklyn on Ocean Ave. You know what I'm saying? Where you look out the window and it's, you know, old school Brooklyn, like someone, you know, the clothes hanger across the street, you know, you can't go to sleep because they're bumping music like that. And then, progress from that. But now she lives in a really nice house in Parkland, you know? And so she's been able to see that. Whereas my son was born into Bankhead area of Atlanta. And right after I had gone bankrupt. And so we lived across the street from like the dilapidated project buildings in the city of Atlanta, you know, where T.I. and all them rap about or whatever. And until he was 4 years old. So he doesn't have a lot of recollection of that. And then he moved into now his beautiful, you know, South Florida life. And my youngest daughter, she's never seen hardship in her life. And so there's different stages with them. And what I try to do though is to give them some hardship anytime I can and some adversity anytime I can. And I shoot it to them straight. Yeah, we just want to take this figuratively. We want to take the stairs when we can, meaning if there's a hard way and we can choose a hard way for them, I'm going to put them in the hard way. Like right now, for instance, my daughter, I told her, I was like, look, man, you're too soft. You're too soft. You need to be more assertive. And I was like, frankly, you need to get punched in the face. You've never been in a fight before. You need to get punched in the face. She's like, what do you mean? I'm like, literally, you need to go get punched in the face. So I'm going to go put you with my Muay Thai kickboxing trainer. Okay. And you need to go do that.
I rocks with that.
Until you actually, don't stop at training. You're actually going to do an amateur, you know, like your dad, and you're going to get punched in the face.
What does her mom say about that though?
Her mom is an NYPD, you know, vet. She's like 20 years on the job in New York City. Okay. And she understands. She babies her, but she understands what we're doing. Yeah. She works, and I make her have shit jobs. And I'm charging her rent, which she's behind on right now. You know what I'm saying? But
let's drop a bomb on that.
Yeah, run me my money.
That.
But yeah, and so she's got, you know, a little shit job, and sometimes she has struggles, and I just don't come to her aid on stuff that isn't gonna be life or death, because she needs a struggle, right? My son, same thing, you know. You gotta struggle, bro. You know, he comes with me to do volunteer work. He comes with me to do anything where I can expose him to a different way of life outside of this Parkland dreamland that he lives in.
Yeah, Parkland is nice, bro.
Yeah, and it's it's a trick. It's a trap for these young kids.
No, that's true.
Not real life, bro.
Yeah.
So I try to expose them to that. And again, you know, he's involved in sports and stuff like that. And I'm hands off with that. Like the coaches, I'm like, yo, you could do whatever. I mean, look, I'm not saying whatever, but you can do. If you got to put hands on my son and you want to get in his face, you can put hands. I'm not coming to your aid.
Yeah. When
he falls and injures himself or gets, you know, wind knocked out of him in games, I don't even get up on my seat.
So are you preparing them to be a part of Forever Young?
No, not at all. Not at all. I've actually just did a transaction where I've sold the majority of my company. So I'm a minority owner right now. And what I'm preparing them for is to be prepared for life, to be prepared to be independent, to be prepared to be entrepreneurs, to be prepared to be aggressive, to be prepared to protect themselves, and be prepared to not be giving excuses to people. And like many of their peers that I see that seem to have a sob story and suffer from all these mental anguishes and whatnot, like I'm trying to prepare them to be adults and human beings. Look, we talked about victim mentality and mindset.
Yeah.
I can't live with myself as a parent if that's what I'm putting out into society.
No, of
I
course.
think these kids are a reflection of us. And if you raise shitty kids, bro, you got to be accountable for that. And you got to be accountable 100%. For their action. We're responsible for that. Yeah. We're also responsible about a lot of the outcomes in their lives. So if I'm raising some junkies or if I'm raising some convicts or anything like that, or if I'm raising a kid that's living at home playing video games, you know what I'm saying, until he's 28 years old, drinking Red Bull and Doritos, like, bro, that's on me. That's my fault. So we're trying not to do any of that.
No, big facts.
And really put good stuff into the world. And I don't think you can be good if you haven't been tested, if you don't have adversity, if you don't have hardship. And we provide a really good lifestyle for my kids. That's what the goal was. But I also see that can also have negative ramifications on people.
No, everything within balance, right? So what's your thought on toxic masculinity?
Wow. I don't think it's toxic.
So where do you find the balance? Because I heard you say a lot of, I want them to be assertive, aggressive, which is totally fine.
To fight. So first and foremost, I think men, if you haven't been in a fist fight in your life, if you didn't get in school fights, if you never had your ass beat,
but that's easy for you. You're like 6'8".
It's for all of us. Hey, my dad is like 5'5", man, and he used to fight all the time. I'm talking about my dad that raised me.
Okay,
he's a fighter, man.
Okay,
He was embarrassed of these things when I was growing up. He'd be like telling his mom and grandma, "Don't tell him that," because they thought it was a negative influence. But he liked to fight. He's a strong person, especially if you're shorter. You should get in more fights, right?
Yeah, but that could be the short man complex because I went through that growing up in New York.
So but we all got to fight, man. Violence is there for a reason when it comes to being able to protect yourself.
I agree.
Or as a solution for other things sometimes. I mean, look, what I'm saying is that you have to be able to be aggressive on the offense and the defense, right? Physical situations can occur where men need to protect themselves. And so the reason I'm saying that is because you asked about toxic masculinity. That's considered to be toxic. Being able to fight, being able to protect yourself, being masculine. If that's toxic, then I want to be like covered in like yellow, do not cross warning labels, man. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think so it's like having the ability to protect yourself. I don't look at that as toxic, right?
Some people do.
I think they have the wrong concept when it comes to toxic masculinity. My take on toxic masculinity would be, overly aggressive for no reason, speaking loudly when you don't have to.
Well, that's when obnoxious.
Because you have some people that feels like, okay, because I get loud, that means I'm the man.
No, I think that's obnoxious. I think that you can be assertive, aggressive, strong, and be reserved in that and controlled, right? At the same time. And so there's nothing wrong with that. What are some other examples of toxic masculinity, just so I can understand what you're saying? Because this is used widely, but
also, the man is everything and the woman stay home and cook and clean and just do what I say. I think that's toxic masculinity, because you have some men that don't know how to accept if a woman is also making money and doing her thing out there in the field too.
So that's insecurity, right? That's insecurity. And again, that's kind of like being a bitch, right? Right. If you can't, like, for instance, there's been many times in my life where my wife actually makes more than me. I'm about to go into one now. Right.
Really?
We're able to play off each other like that. Right.
Okay.
And so like she's the stable one. And then I go out and do something crazy, or I have something to set up, you know, and that setup is going to yield a great deal of income. Right. But it takes a while to set that up. So I kind of got to play off her. She stays stable. We keep the bills paid.
Okay.
I work on this idea. I've never been intimidated by that at all. But I think a man also at the same time, if you're going to sit there, you also got a lot of men that sit there and will let a woman just take care of them and do all that stuff.
Yeah.
That's just unacceptable.
No,
you know,
I totally
that's
agree.
not being a man.
Yeah, the Jodies.
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, that's just a disgrace, right?
Yeah.
But when it comes to also household, there are household roles. And so hell yeah, like as a man, I'm going to be a leader of my household. As a man, I'm going to be the one to try to shield my household, my family, my woman from danger.
No, of course.
If there's violence around or somebody's trying to do something to us, I'm going to step in front of that.
So you don't fold clothes or do laundry or nothing?
I try to minimize that as much as possible. Yeah. You know, like it's like my uncle, like somebody said this the other day to me too. They were like, man, this guy, I saw this guy at my job and he says he doesn't do diapers and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, they're like just downing the guys. Like, look, that's the way it was when we came up. You know, I mean, that guys didn't do that stuff back in the day.
But do you think that was the right setting though? Because you hear a lot of women, because I ain't gonna front, I've always been the side dude, right? So I've heard a lot of women complain and say, well, he don't help me with this house chore, that house chore, that da-da-da-da. So a lot of men come home and they expect the woman to do everything and still put out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Right? So I think we look at...
Within reason, yes. Within reason, I think we should have roles. Within reason, I think it is... I personally think it's the man's duty to secure the household. I think it's the man's duty.
In terms of finance? Because you know you can provide in other ways too.
Financially, physically, as a protector, as a...
I agree with that.
And especially financially, I feel like you should strive to do that. I feel that if you have children, you should strive to impart the male aspects and qualities that are going to make them a successful male in them. Do I think that, you know, typically that should always defer towards cooking and cleaning? No. Do I think that those have been traditional roles throughout history? Yes. Would I like it to remain like that? Yes. Do I think that women are doing better by accepting more traditionally male roles in society? No. It doesn't seem to be making anybody happier or better. And I think you brought up the word balance a minute ago when it talks about when you're talking about raising children. There are female attributes and female qualities and skill sets that a woman has, and they're the same with a man that helps to build a balanced human being and individual. And many times when you see these things missing, that is the source of the person's imbalance. And so, yeah, I mean, what I'm saying is probably leading down a road to something that many people would call toxic, and that's fine as long as you can back it up. And like we were just talking about the show, and you're not some cackling woman talking about men should do this and I'm independent and I don't need no man and blah, blah, blah. And you're sitting there, you know, single mom with these kids from different dads and all this stuff. Talk about your independent in your apartment, you know what I'm saying, with your little kitchen, you know what I'm saying, and trying to down that like you're happy, like this is great.
No, that is definitely toxic on itself. But I do believe that certain aspects of how relationships are supposed to go were inserted into our society to keep things in balance, because you have some women that are just as creative as men and her role may not be inside the house. So it's kind of like when women started, or not women, when people were looking at like She King, right? And they automatically thought, oh, nah, that's an agenda. But that's not true. You had women back in those times.
Oh, that movie?
With She King.
The African?
Yeah.
Bro, I thought that was an agenda myself.
It's not though. So that's why I tell people, you had women back in those historical times that held those type of positions, but it doesn't mean that they weren't feminine.
So you mean to tell me that those women were fighting in combat like that?
Yes.
Come on, bro.
So it's the same way how you said you're going to put your daughter in jujitsu or martial arts. Yes. Now, if a normal woman fights against you or fights against me, yes, it'll probably be highly difficult for her to win. But if now how you put your daughter in jujitsu or hapkido, she might whoop my ass because she's skilled. So it's not like these women just came from birth and just started, They were trained and skilled to do what they needed to do, but they were still feminine. A lot of them were still mothers, right? They were still doing their thing. So I feel like we took part of the concept that was given to us to keep things in balance, because then now that puts it all on a man, and that's where we don't have that avenue to even express ourselves, or if we do, we're called a bitch. So what do you think about that? Like,
I do. Yeah. Well, look, it's okay to express yourself. I mean, I have open lines of communication with my wife and everybody, even you. We just met, and we could be transparent. I could talk about my feelings. If you hit a nerve, I'll cry on your show, man. But it doesn't excuse the fact that we, as men, do have a lot of weight to carry and should feel proud about that. And if you're within reason, yes, some of that is being a bitch. You know, if you can't get out of your head, bro, if you can't get out of your little head, you know, because everything's so difficult and so hard, and you don't feel good, and you know, she broke your heart, and you're just, you know, you're just down. Bro, I think a lot of that also comes from the imbalance. Like,
so you don't listen to Drake?
No, I don't. I actually don't. I stopped listening to Drake in as a fan probably in 2011. Really? I think, I don't support that type of music, man. I really don't like the messaging behind that stuff, because that's what these guys that I think we're kind of getting to talk about right now are listening to. And for the last 15 years, that's what they've been growing up on, right? Who's the number one artist? Drake. How have men been going? Decline into being a bitch, right? You know what I'm saying? And so
So are you saying being in touch or being in tune with your emotion is bitchy?
No, you should be in tune with your emotion, but you also need to be able to control that, or you should be at least working towards control at all times, controlling of emotional behavior, controlling of impulsive behavior, right? And trying to get to a place where we can be as stoic as possible and make the best decisions as possible.
Okay, so you got the stoic mindset.
Right?
Okay.
And these are the things, it goes back to what we're trying to impart in our children, right?
Yeah.
Bro, what do I look like raising some bitch son, right? Who's going to go up there and start crying on my son? I was crying on the basketball court, crying because the coach talked to you crazy, crying because your girlfriend broke up with you, crying because you didn't get the job you wanted.
But David Goggins was crying, and that man been through hell,
right? And
he ain't no bitch.
David Goggins was crying at a low point in his life, and look at what he did. Now he stays hard, right?
Yeah, but he was crying when he got recognized for all those medals. He was crying on stage.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that. But that is a man who is basically acknowledging his hard work and efforts, and that's okay. Okay. He's not using it as an excuse or a crutch, so you're just saying, or a just setback.
Don't use it. Okay. So what's your thoughts on therapy?
Nothing wrong with crying, bro. I've cried this year. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. And again, I wouldn't be embarrassed if you struck a nerve to cry with you right now. But the minute I walk out this door, it's not going to stop me from doing the next thing that I have to do today.
Okay.
My dog could have died right before I walked in here, and you're still going to get the same interview out of me right now. We're not going to cry about that shit, okay?
Okay. I get what you're saying.
Right? Someone's going to die next week, bro, and I'm still going to show up to my meetings. I'm still going to do everything that I have to do within reason. Now, again, there are circumstances where you're losing a child, a spouse, something like that, that can rock your world, and that I'm personally not prepared for. I hope I never have to experience. Yeah. But we all know that aunt that's 80 to 90 years old is going to die. Your dog is 13 years old. It's going to die, right? Okay. So why the hell is that a setback for you that you got to take a week off of work for that? You know what I'm saying? Really? You can't come into work today because your 13-year-old dog that had a life expectancy of 10 years died and you weren't prepared for that? That's idiotic. You know what I'm saying? Like, that makes no sense. And fine, if you want to be that way, that's okay. But we all can probably agree on how that's going to work out for you, right? Because if you're the guy that's crying over these little small situations and setbacks in life, and there's another person just like you that's able to deal with them, compartmentalize and move forward, who are we going with in every opportunity in life?
No, you're right.
This guy. And
so this mindset, sorry, I don't mean to cut you.
No problem.
This mindset that you have, right? Right? Okay. Do you think, what culture did you adapt this from? Or were you in a certain environment? Because I heard you say stoic. So I know that's more like European.
It comes from, actually, the root of this is coming from what we're talking about right now. How do you deal with life? How do you deal with setback?
Okay.
How do you deal with emotional trauma and pain that we all probably have some of, triggers, sadness, depression? Okay, so these are facts of life. I've been depressed. Sometimes I could fall into that now. You know what I'm saying? I've lost friends. I've had major setbacks. I've had major injuries, things that have changed my life. Diagnoses in my own, just genetically that I've had that don't allow me to do certain things ever again. You know what I'm saying? All different things. It can be different for you. So it's about asking yourself and being logical and saying, so what are we going to do about it? Is this going to be your last day? Is this going to be your last time to enjoy anything? Or are we going to choose to push forward? And I think that that's probably come maybe in the beginning from spending a lot of time on my own, from going to Mississippi and getting jumped and beat up and called a nigger, and then moving to South Florida and trying to how to figure out with a bunch of people, for immigrants and Caribbean people and a whole totally different culture and how to fit in there, coming from there, and then having other experiences and losses and setbacks. And then.
So you dealt with a lot, and then you built up like a tough mentality to kind of deal with it and push forward. It don't stop you and don't allow it to stop you from your goals.
Exactly.
And your dreams and stuff.
And then there's a spiritual aspect as well. As my dad was a Baptist minister, know, and a lot of these also, again, are kind of like biblical principles. What's the point of, and again, I want to disclose, I am not like super religion guy. You know what I'm saying? I am not a pope. I'm not a pope. I'm not a pastor, not a preacher, not a pope. But what's the point of a biblical principle or a story, right, if there isn't a lesson in it, right? And all of these biblical lessons and stories usually culminate in something like what we're talking about, right? Yeah. It's about perseverance, about pushing through. It's about David and Goliath, right? And conquering and overcoming these things, right? Yeah. And if you're not going to do that, you can't live a life worth living. And so you gotta stay hard like David Goggins. That's what David Goggins' whole life and income is about.
Stay hard.
Yeah, and training people to overcome these things so they can actually live their best life.
No, I totally agree with that. You definitely have to be resilient. You definitely have to push forward. I do think there's something missing when it comes to being balanced with the femininity and the masculinity. It's kind of like even back into your business model, right? You have some men that may not want to get a facial, right? Because it's deemed feminine, right? Or to get their nails done or whatever. Not no polish. I mean, not no paint, but just to even get it manicured and stuff like that. So seeing how stoic and rock hard you are, how'd you get into this business?
Because I think we're talking about two different things, right?
Okay.
And so that is the perception that people have of masculinity, right? As someone that won't cry, won't get their nails or toes manicured, right? Yeah. Won't go or for instance, go to a gay club or something like that. Not to frequent it, but like have a gay friend, right? I'll go if I have some gay friends.
I don't know.
If they want to go to, but if they want to go to, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, it's this preconceived notion of what masculinity is. But for you to act, this kind of goes to your point, but for you to lack the balance and to go towards this ultra hard, exterior and way of life is actually, to me, less masculine, because it's kind of like out of fear, and like you're trying to be something that's not innate to you, whereas these things should come natural to you.
Yeah.
And so if I put you, and the reason I bring up the gay club or a gay bar is because if I go to a gay bar with my gay friends, what does that have to do with me? It has nothing to do with me, bro. I'm straight.
Yeah.
I'm straight.
I mean, they say birds of a feather flock together.
But sometimes it calls. Look, in Atlanta, bro, I lived in Atlanta before I moved here, bro. Okay. You're not doing no business unless you are crossing barriers. You know what I'm saying? Racial barriers. Yeah. Sexual barriers, whatever. In terms of, bro, there's, if you want to stall your money and your progress by not associated with gay people.
No, you're right.
But what I'm saying is that you should be so strong in your masculinity that it doesn't
I get what you're
bother
saying.
you, bro. Like, I'm me. Yeah. And so, I'm Big Bad Carlton. I'm over here getting my toes done with my daughter, and you better not say anything about it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, like, I don't have to prove myself to you in that regard, right? But when time comes to be strong, and time comes to be a provider, and the time comes to, have to be a protector and whatnot, you better step up to the plate too. Like, that should be innate in you. That should be something that is instinctual, that you hop right to it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of agree with what you're saying, because there's nothing wrong with crying as long as it's not a crutch. There's nothing wrong with telling a woman or a man how you feel. Okay. How something makes you feel. Okay. But it better not be a crutch, man. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And I can tell you, like, I don't feel good today, man. Something's wrong in my spirit, or I'm feeling kind of down, and I'm not going to let it affect our relationship and my productivity, but I may be a little off today, and I just want you to know that I'm still committed to whatever we're doing. Okay. I'm going to work through this. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just trying to give you some examples. Yeah. So I'd never want to perpetuate that you got to be some impenetrable badass, right? Okay. Because it's not real. No, big facts. Don't be out here. I see these guys like, oh, I can't, that's gay, bro. I can't do that. That's when I'm looking at you kind of like, bro.
So what's your thought when those dudes say, because I think that word should be done with 2024, pause. Or like if I say something and it kind of has a double, you know what I mean? Like a double edged meaning.
It used to be funny when we were kids, but it's not really funny anymore.
Yeah, man. I'm like, why you got to say pause? Like, if that's not who you are, like, because what you're letting me know is that's where your mind went. Right? Yeah. So whether psychologically or consciously, that's what you're thinking about. I'm just saying, yo, bro, I'm on my way. I'm coming right now. Not, yo, whoa, pause. Like, yeah. Can we be done with that damn word?
Yeah, let's do it. Because actually, if you say too many pauses, now I'm looking at you kind of like, bro, you trying to set up the offense? I'm sorry, the defense? You trying to put up that barrier? Yeah. Like, look over there, not over here?
You letting me know where your mind at. Because nobody's not even thinking about that. Yeah. I mean, the gay club, I don't know, for me, it's a stretch, but I get what you're saying. Like,
I take my wife to the gay club sometimes, bro. You want to know why?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You want to know why? For a couple of reasons. First and foremost, when you go into gay communities, a lot of time you are associating with people who had a lot of different traumas and people who have been mistreated throughout their whole lives. And so when you go into these communities, the first thing that I'd notice is that your level of comfort actually starts to increase, because what's happening is might be one of the first settings where you're not being judged for being you.
Okay. Okay, I get what you're saying.
No one's worried about you, bro. No one's worried about you. No one is treating you as an outsider. No one's looking at your shoes, looking at you and judging you and be like, oh, whatever. Everybody there is kind of like a supportive actual community. And so it can actually be quite positive sometimes in terms of the dialogue.
You trying to spin the rainbow. Okay.
I'm being honest, because you're talking about people who've been mistreated a lot.
Yeah. So they're not going to judge you.
Yes, and there's a lot of compassion and love there.
Yeah. Okay.
And I get where you're going. Experience. Okay. Yeah. And I'm not promoting this or anything like that.
No. But I get the mindset of what you're saying.
And then the other thing is that it's also very complimentary as well for both men and women. So if you take your wife or take your girlfriend, take a date over there, typically, unless you're dating, something that
I mean, are you a swinger, bro?
No, absolutely not at all.
Oh, okay.
No.
All right, I was trying to
Please don't chop that up.
I know.
Please don't chop that up.
That's dad.
I am not a swinger at all. I ask my wife every week. I'm like, I do not understand swinging. I haven't understand it. Can't figure it out.
You spend time at trapeze,
bruh. No. But the other thing that happens over there is they're very complimentary, and so your wife, for instance, or your girlfriend, they're going to be like, unless she's absolutely not, like that's a whole.
Yeah.
They're going to be complimentary, like, oh my God, your hair, your nails, your dress, your outfit.
Okay.
And that's so good for your mind.
No, facts.
And then as a dude, back to what we were talking about before, unless you're trying to play all big, hard, and tough or whatever, bro, it's complimentary for you too. Yeah. Think about, hey man, where you work out? Nice shirt, nice clothes, whatever. Ooh, you're handsome. They'll joke around. And sometimes it can be too much. But what I'm saying is that imagine you're in when's the last time you were in a positive, complimentary environment anywhere?
Bro, I'm going to definitely give you a real example. So I was actually talking to one of my good friends about this the other day on why I rocks with the financial service industry, right? Because being in the entertainment industry, which is podcasting, media and everything, you still kind of get that little hint of toxicity, the hate. But when you're in the financial service industry, people are more professional, right? So it's exactly what you're saying. It's just you're getting the compliments. You're getting praise. Nobody's trying to sneak dish you. Nobody ain't trying to say nothing under their breath. Like, so I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I would have never thought of that. But I get where you're coming from with
it. We're, 5 blocks, 6 blocks from Wilton Manors, man. Next time you go on a date, you can text me. I'll tell you where to go. Take your date over there.
I mean, I probably won't, but no, because I get what you're saying though. But that's why I feel like we just have to get around a more professional setting, because regardless of how much money you have, right? That doesn't mean that this person did work on their personal character. A lot of people who got bread, a lot of these entrepreneurs out here, these so-called coaches, they're lacking on the internal personal development. Yeah. So what I experienced being part of the financial services industry is that more people did that work. So I could relax. Yeah. I don't have to feel like I can't say, man, I just made 10 bands the other day and get some hate. Or, man, you know what? I think I'm going to be a comedian and, get some hate or that underlining like, nah, what the hell you been thinking about?
Right.
You ever experienced that? You ever had to switch up your circle as you was like leveling up and said, you know what, man?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I came from financial services prior to doing this for the last 10 years. But yeah, when I started this business, I had to do that many times because initially, my business is a very sexy business, man. And and so people want to be around it. They want to, and we do a lot of events and parties and stuff like that. So
I saw that on your page.
Had a lot of people around me, and I was coming from Atlanta, which is just more, honestly, still a more hospitable place. Yeah. And so I didn't know that people were around me and telling lies and around me to use me or around me for their own personal gain. And so that was really eye-opening here in South Florida. I've had to level up probably through 2 to 3 different time frames. Yeah. Where I had to pull back and actually move closer into my circle, my household, my family, because of what you're saying. And and on top of that, I will say South Florida in general. This guy put a post on social media the other day, was talking about how he just moved to Miami. He's been down there for 2 years, and he finds it to be such a positive place where people are looking to collaborate and are extra friendly and all this.
What part of Miami he talking about?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Brickell?
This is one of the shittiest places in the country to do business, make friends, raise a family, or any of that.
Let's drop a bomb.
Yes, South Florida. This place runs on drugs, alcohol, debauchery, fraud, scams, and felonies. And it looks any kind of way you want it to look, you can find that. Yeah. And anybody who says that that's a lie or a generalization is a clown or doing the scams and fraud themselves.
No, big facts.
And you will notice that. Go travel outside of this, but even New York City is nicer and kinder than this city.
Really?
Yes.
Well, you know what? Okay, I can't really speak on that too much because I left at an early age.
Yeah, they're nicer and kinder, and contrary to belief. And you will find that even though there are scammers in all major cities, they are nothing like they are down here, sustaining that lifestyle and doing whatever it takes to do it. I mean, you just do the math on Miami alone. No condo building adds up. Nothing adds up down there, right? And if you compare it to IRS statistics in all types of polling, there literally isn't enough wealth in the country, and definitely not concentrated in one little radius in South Florida to support all the yachts, all the Lambos, all the condos, all the $1,000 meals and $300,000 watches. And please make it make sense. Do the math. Facts. Quantify that for me. It doesn't exist. It's all BS. And so to sustain that, to sustain a whole region off of that, what are people willing to do? Just to stay one more day or one more year,
just to get that bling bling.
And so it's this place has taught me a lot of lessons. It's made me stronger though.
I think there's a lot of healing and hugs, that needs to be that needs to be had down here, because there's a lot of people out here that's not operating from that forever young kind of mindset. You know what I'm saying?
But you go to the South, man. Go to New Orleans. Go to.
There's more love over there.
Oh yeah, go just pick anywhere. Go to Alabama. Go to Mississippi. Next thing you'll be doing double takes for the first couple of days. Be like, well, why is this person talking to me?
So why are they so nice? Things that you do to keep your mental health balanced?
Got a medical card. I work out a lot.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? What else? My wife gets an earful.
Okay.
I have started to be somewhat of a recluse. I have a lot of, the gym, and having some outlets.
Swole.
Trying.
Okay.
My parents get a lot of calls. Still they walk me through things, talk to church. Church.
All right.
Prayer. A lot of prayer. It takes all those things just to get through a day here, because again, is your age a secret?
No, I'm 42.
So you're in the 40s, bro. I always remind people, think about this, man. Think about the stuff that people try now here, whether it's litigiously, whether some guy is weak and can't confront you, so they serve you with legal documents, or if they take advantage of you somehow, scam you, whatever. All these things are happening on a daily basis. These things, when we were growing up, let me ask you, what would have happened to you in 1980s, 1990 New York City if you pulled a scam like people do down here?
It's so hard to say goodbye.
Right? That's about the average. And at the least, what would happen to you?
It would be RIP.
Yeah, or you at least get your ass whooped.
Oh, yeah. Right? Well, yeah. When I was leaving New York, it was on that RIP stuff. But no, you're right, because I graduated high school in '99, and you would have definitely got jumped and stomped out. Right. That's the vibe we was on.
Yeah, and you look at the escalation of the things that people feel emboldened to get away from, get away with. Yeah. So meaning, let's just say you live in Fort Lauderdale. A dude could live in Sunrise or in Fort Lauderdale, bro. Screw you out of $20,000, $25,000, $50,000, and still live here. And just the fact that they live here is so insulting to you or me, because that insinuates that you're not going to do anything about it. Yeah. And you can't do anything about it. And that's the environment that we're living in right now, where, as you said, and as I would agree, you would have had your life taken, and you should have your life taken if you do stuff like that. And so that's the environment we're living in now, where there's no consequence to these actions. Yeah. And when there's no consequence, why not keep on doing it?
Yeah.
And so that's.
But do you think there's some level of accountability, that we would have to take because maybe we didn't do our due diligence?
Oh, absolutely.
A contract.
It's your fault. It's your fault, but it doesn't make it right. It's every time something happens to us, it's maximum accountability. Yeah. It's my fault, but there should be a consequence to that. So it should also be my fault that you lost your life when you took that $25,000 from me, right? Right? That's a learning lesson, right?
So this is a real situation you talk about? You seem real passionate about it.
Oh, I got a couple of influencer scammer guys I got one that owes me $5K right now. I got another one that owes me $7,000. I told him that I'm going to give him till next week until I start dropping his name on all these pods. I'm going on, these pod tours or whatever. Another one of them, you'd be really surprised. He's a big time influencer out there. He's a fitness influencer and one of these mindset guys that's all about, black empowerment and mindset and all that stuff.
Really?
Drives Rolls Royces, all this kind of stuff. But he lives his life in advance. And so basically just takes money from different people. And if he shows up, he shows up. If he doesn't deliver the product or whatever. So I got 3 different guys like that right now that probably owe me at least probably up to about $20,000 right now.
Damn.
But this is just in the last 6 to 7 months. And I've been dealing, I'm sure you have, everybody down here has. I mean, the more interactions network, the more you grow your network, the more vulnerability that you have. Being a nice person, want to open up, network, and get to know people, the more exposure you have to these type of things. And so you learn along the way how to protect yourself. Yeah. Ultimately, if you're doing the right thing, I think you're going to win. But not everybody can take those financial losses, man.
Yeah, no. You're 100% right about that. Not everybody can even go through that type of adversity, right? Because I think that's really what happens to a lot of people as they're trying to get into this business world or they're trying to be a CEO or an entrepreneur. You're going to have to kind of know how to navigate through these sharks, but I look at them as all learning lessons. We just don't necessarily like the lesson, but if it didn't come to us in that way, how else would have learned?
Absolutely. And then it goes back to what we were talking about before. You need to have that fortitude and that foundation,
correct,
to be able to push through. And that's the responsibility of the people that raised us. Hopefully a mother and father, you know what I'm saying? And that's the accountability that we have. And when we're talking to people, raising people, mentoring people like you have shows, this should be shared all the time with your guests and put out there to as many avenues as possible, because that's your contribution to actually fixing the problem.
No, of course.
Shed some light on it.
Yeah. Oh, no, we definitely going to shed light on this. And this is going on all the major platforms. Bro, this was so good. I didn't even get into we might have to do a part 2 in this piece because I had a lot of, health questions to ask you, but that when you said you got adopted, I think that is where everything took the turn, but it was still good, brother. Let everybody know where they can find you at. Yeah.
So thanks again for having me here. Right now, if you want to find me, I use Instagram as my business card. So it's CARLTON_Washington_ on Instagram. I use that as my business card. Also LinkedIn, Carlton Washington, and trying to get my YouTube going. So again, it's Carlton Washington on YouTube, and I'm going to be releasing a site soon with what's next in terms of what I'm doing business-wise. My business now that we founded here in South Florida and are growing is Forever Young with the number 4, foreveryoung.com, and that's where you can go to find out about the business, go out to find about franchise opportunities. Just go out and find ways to make yourself look better and feel better. And if I can help anybody to do that, they can always reach out to me. I'm accessible and I like to help as long as it's not a scam.
Big facts. We ain't scamming nobody. That man on his Ray Kroc-ish. I appreciate it, brother. Definitely.
Hey, thank you, Ben.
No, of course. Y'all already know what it is. It's Mr. Williams with the I Talk Great podcast, and we out of here. Yeah.